Welcome to Lizzie's Bedtime Stories, episode 35. I have a new guest, Barbara Winkus, is on the show, and she is going to be doing two wonderful excerpts for me. Welcome to the show, Barbara.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm happy to have you on the show, and so you have two readings. Can you tell me about the first one?
The first one is from my first novel, Autumn Leaves, which is also the first in the series, and I'm gonna read from the first meeting of the main characters, the first introduction. Yeah, and that's it.
Cool. Now I'm excited to read. Before you start, German is your first language. Have you ever written in German for, a short story or a novel?
I've been writing pretty much as soon as I knew how to, and at some point then I changed languages. I wrote fan fiction also for a few years, and at some point I just wanted to go back to my own characters and have them all to myself.
Okay. For those of you who are listening, there might be like the sounds of heavy machinery outside because, we have blizzard earlier today. I think it's pretty much stopped. I don't know what's going to continue. And I also there's a lot of construction going on in the beach community where I live because Superstorm Sandy hit it last year. And I guess they let people hang out during the summer and now they're doing all the construction that they didn't do during the summer. And there's something going by right now. I have no idea what it is. All right, I think the heavy machinery has made its way past, and I'm really excited to hear from Autumn Leaves. So when you're ready, I'd love to hear you read.
So I'm going to start at the first meeting, and Kelly has just moved in from out of town, and the neighborhood is all very curious about her. And Rebecca, the other main character, she lives across the street, and she has heard some rumors about the new neighbor, so she wants to go see what she's all about. And so the excerpt starts here. Rebecca gave her a neatly arranged welcome present a doubtful look. She had added a bottle of wine from their own cellar. She didn't want to come across as the worst cliché of a small-town soccer mom. Then again, she was curious about the woman next door. And there was only one way to satisfy that curiosity. Only seconds after the first ring of the bell, the door was opened by the red-headed woman. Her hair was arranged in a ponytail, and she was wearing a white shirt over a long red and white flowered skirt. Her greeting wasn't quite as amiable. Well, that took you long enough. The woman stopped, looking embarrassed, her gaze dropping to her bare feet. I'm so sorry. I've been waiting for the plumber all day. It's fine, Rebecca assured her, holding out her right hand and lifting the basket with the left. I'm Rebecca Lohman. My family and I live across the street. Welcome to Autumn Leaves. Oh, wow. The woman accepted the greeting and the basket with a brilliant smile. That's great. Thank you, Rebecca. I'm Kelly. Would you like to come in for a moment? I'm afraid I can't offer you much, but if tea or coffee is okay, I couldn't go out since I had to wait for the damn plumber. Obviously, I'm still waiting for him. Sheesh. Rebecca followed the chatty woman from the nicely lit hallway into a kitchen that was smaller than hers, but would be quite comfortable when it was all cleaned up. The wallpaper was a sunny yellow with white cabinets, a granite countertop, and a round white table. Rebecca smiled to herself, thinking that it didn't look like there would be much cooking in this kitchen. Coffee would be nice, she said. Kelly took 2 cups out of the cabinet and put them on the table. I've seen you with the girls outside. Yeah, Maggie and Dina. They are 8 and 14. We moved here when... Sorry, you probably don't want to know all of this. What was she doing here anyway? Testing Betty's theory? Well, of course I do. I'm new in town. I can use all the information I can get about my neighborhood. How did you decide to come here then? Rebecca sipped the coffee. It tasted heavenly, reminding her that quite some time had passed since breakfast. Kelly shrugged. I didn't really. I had to get away from everyone and everything, and I inherited this house from my aunt some time ago. I was going to sell it, but things happened, and here I am. You lived in Hollywood? What? No. Kelly gave her a puzzled look. I lived on the West Coast until a few years ago, yes, but the only time I've been to Hollywood was on a vacation. What made you think that? Rebecca chuckled self-consciously. Wow, I'm really mortified now. Somebody heard something. You know how it is in a small town. I should have known better. I don't really know how it is, Kelly said, but if everyone's as nice as you are, I don't see a problem. She winked, making Rebecca blush for some reason she couldn't quite fathom. Thank you. What do you need the plumber for anyway? She asked, to steer the topic into safer, small talk waters. Right, Kelly rolled her eyes. The faucet keeps dripping like mad. It's driving me crazy. I don't think I'll be able to sleep through the night with that sound. Want me to take a look? The doubtful look Kelly shot her spoke volumes. Rebecca had to admit that her cardigan and slacks probably didn't give her the look of somebody you trust with your plumbing problems. David, my husband, is on business trips a great deal of the time. That means I had to develop some skills along the line, or live with the consequences. Kelly laughed happily. Let's see, you bring me food and booze. You've known me for 5 minutes, and you still haven't said I talk too much, and you're fixing my faucet? You're already my favorite neighbor. You could be mine, Rebecca thought. Please. She set down her cup and got up. All right, I need to get Maggie from practice in a little while, so I better get started. She discarded the cardigan and hung it over a chair, stepped out of her plums and put them underneath. The black t-shirt she wore and the slacks were fine for this kind of work. She could come up with a verdict quickly. I think it's just the mounting nut under the sink that needs to be tightened. Kelly didn't seem to know what to make of that piece of information. Whatever you say. Don't worry, it's nothing serious. Coal's prices are outrageous anyway. So what do you do? Rebecca asked, still half buried under the sink. I write, Kelly said. What kind of things? Lesbian erotica. Ow! Getting upright, Rebecca promptly hit her head. Kelly had some kind of humor. A good thing Betty wasn't here, or the story would have easily topped the no-name Hollywood actress one. You want me to work on your pipes and not mess up the job? Don't say things like that. Why? It's true. Rebecca came out from under her temporary workplace to look at her neighbor skeptically. There's a market for that? Really? I can afford to keep this house if that's what you meant. Kelly's tone was guarded now. Sure, whatever. There was an indiscreet question on the tip of her tongue, and Rebecca thought she'd better finish here before it slipped out. I write all kinds of things, Kelly sighed. This is just one section, you know? And if you want to ask, just ask me already. None of my business. The faucet should be okay now. Thanks. You're welcome. Rebecca let the water run for a moment, then turned it off, satisfied that there was no more noisy dripping. I'm sorry, she said after a moment of hesitation. It's your life. I didn't mean to judge. Well, Kelly said somberly, sometimes when people say I talk too much, I suppose they're right. No, they're not. I asked. If you want some advice, though, don't tell everybody. News travels fast in a small community. Realizing what she just said, Rebecca shook her head. Now listen to me. You've been here for a day and I'm already scaring you off. I'm sorry. No harm done. I appreciate the warning. Besides, I write children's books too. Oh, and Rebecca? Her hand already on the door handle, Rebecca turned around. Feel free to come over whenever you like. I'll be here most of the time, writing, and I love distractions. Rebecca felt ridiculously relieved that Kelly didn't begrudge her the earlier misunderstanding. I remember that, she said. don't forget to call off the plumber. That's it for this.
Wow. Well, that is kind of, like, oh. It's the first, first interaction, and, I like it. It gives the flavor of the book and also gets you, takes down some stereotypes like, oh, I probably don't look like the type of person that can fix your sink, but I can. Mm-hmm. So I like it. I like it a lot. It's definitely a nice taste into that book. Your next reading is from another book.
That's right.
What is this book about?
It's a standalone thriller, and it's about a woman who goes on the road on a whim, really. She isn't very happy, very satisfied with her life, and she just decides to go and make that road trip. And on the way, she picks up a hitchhiker, which is the first hint that things aren't really going as planned. And they both get stuck a little bit because of a mishap on the road. And so they end up in some cabin. And that's a little problematic on the one hand, because in the area there's a serial killer on the loose, and it's also a little problematic because the main character, Masha, she has sworn to stay away from relationships for the time being, because she just came out of a not so good relationship, and the other person, the hitchhiker, she's kind of very attractive, pretty irresistible, and so there's some tension there.
I'm intrigued.
Okay.
So lay it on me. Read to me, please.
Okay. After standing under the shower spray for about half an hour, Masha felt almost human again. She had inspected the fridge and indeed found pizza, but Jessie had insisted on cooking for dinner. Instead of having a burger and beer all by herself as she'd planned, Masha found herself standing in a small kitchen, chopping a red bell pepper. A delicious smell wafted from the pan on the stove. Jessie seemed to feel better, her cheeks a healthy color, and she was humming to herself. She had claimed that her feet didn't hurt anymore. And there was something entirely different in the air as well. Masha took another sip of the red wine they'd found, sweet and heavy. With the heat and the stress of the day, she could feel the impact almost instantly. As if reading her thoughts, Jessie gave her a quick, shy smile. She hadn't been so shy when Masha came out of the bathroom, wearing only a towel, Jessie's gaze following her all the way to the bedroom, unabashed. She might make many assumptions, but, Masha admitted to herself, some of them might be rooted in the truth. It's been a long time since anybody cooked for me, she said. Masha knew she had to be careful. She was a wistful one. Somehow I find that hard to believe. Jessie didn't turn around, completely focused on preparing the meal. I think women would line up trying to impress you with their cooking skills, and that I was just lucky to get a chance. You want to impress me? Masha asked, not bothering with a sarcastic comment regarding the blatant flirting. In fact, she didn't mind it. Sandy would be so proud. This was a big step for Masha. Honestly, I needed to write, but yeah, if something good happens along the way, I'm all for it. Jessie turned off the stove, meeting Masha's gaze. As I keep telling you, I know about people. I can tell when someone is trying to screw me over. Others appreciate a word, or a touch, or to be appreciated. Wow, that's poetic. Masha took a sip of her wine so quickly she nearly choked on it. It's a fact of life. Dinner is ready. Would you like to eat out here or out on the deck? Outside is fine. It's not too hot. Jessie chuckled at that, but she didn't comment otherwise. Instead, she opened the cabinet to find the plates on the highest shelf. Wait, I'll get that. Jessie stepped back at the same time. Masha took a step forward, which abruptly brought them up very close. The sensation of skin touching hers Jessie's hair tickling her face, together with the heat of the stove and that of the wine, created an entirely too pleasant, tingling sensation. Masha was almost ready to forget about the many secrets still between them. When she remembered how curiosity mixed with loneliness had brought her into bed with Sandy just the same, she stepped back. A cold shower couldn't have been more sobering. "Thanks, don't forget your wine," Jessie said. She sounded out of breath. The sight that greeted them at the back of the cabin was breathtaking in a much more innocent kind. The lake seemed no more than a 10-minute walk away, hills inviting looking for a hike not too killing, but still challenging enough to brag about it later. Not like Masha had anyone to brag about it to, but in theory. The first stars were coming out in the sky. Being around this much beauty did the soul some good, and temptation didn't harm. For the first time since she'd called the tourist information number on a whim, thrown some clothes into a suitcase, and headed out on the road, Masha felt at ease. Who was she kidding? For the first time in many months. She shouldn't be so relaxed, letting her guard down in the presence of a stranger. Jessie wasn't Sandy, though. For one, she was an amazing cook. "Consider me impressed," Masha told her. "It turns out the vacation is getting even better than I had hoped." Jessie smiled at her with too much affection for someone she just met earlier the same day. "It didn't take much for you to mellow." And that's it for me.
Trouble right here in River City. Uh-oh. What will happen next? Oh my goodness. It's like,
It's gonna go a little bit downhill from there, but it's. I have this line. I'm saying that my stories are high drama and happy endings. So.
Well, you keep people turning the page. I think one of the most important things a writer can do is to have something either in the midst of the chapter or in the final throes of conversation or narrative is the desire to turn the next page. So if you have the high drama and the hope for the happy ending, I think you're going to tug a lot of different people into your work.
I hope so. So far, it's been going pretty well.
Well, I'm glad that it's working well for you, and I appreciate you taking time out of your schedule to read from your novels, and I'm sure my listeners' interest has been piqued, and they will pick up the book that seems most to their taste. So I appreciate having you on.
Well, thank you, and I hope it's been a little bit for everyone, because one thing, of course, is the romance, the other one the mystery, and it's pretty much where I come from as a reader. So the saying that you write what you want to read, and of course that there's a lot of truth to that.
No, I completely agree with you on that, and when you're coming at it as a writer, writing the genre that you like to read, you have a better handle on what makes a good story than if it just crossed someone's mind. So I'm definitely my curiosity is definitely perked, and I appreciate you coming on the show. You've been a good guest.
Thank you.